Question again.
So what was our terahash during the day?
Well, because slush pools in. I believe they're working on the integrated witness, segregated witness software upgrade. So I switched this to F2 pool and amp pool temporarily.
Without slush pool and the bottom.
Yeah, well, they're integrating software, and so we've had 4 blocks in 2 days, and we're losing money, so we have to switch during these times.
Right.
Even though we usually make more with slush pool, for most of the time, and whenever there's an issue like this, we always switch. And so I was going between amp pool and F2 pool, because amp pool supposedly have reduced their fees and all this stuff, but F2 pool is still kicking amp pool's butt because we have 140 terahash on F2 pool for 24 hours versus 129 terahash for amp pool, and it's about 2/10 of Bitcoin more for F2 pool. So I'm going to move all the petahash away from slush and straight on to F2 pool until we kind of see that they've worked out the issue. So,
But our net is what, 330, 350 terahash?
well, no, right now it's because of the power issues and getting the building up and everything, it's about 375,
375.
but we'll be at 500 terahash. We'll be at 500 terahash as soon as I get all of my electrical work done at the building.
How many more machines we got coming? Four more?
Well, we've already received 6, and we have 5 more.
5 more coming.
5 more coming.
That's 7.
No,
Seven
well, there's some S9s and some S7s.
Oh, how many S9s we got?
2, that's all I can find. They're kind of getting scarce right now, but because of our profit margin, we're still within the profit margin, S7s are fine. So, now, last month, with the capital investment that was put in, so we had earned, actually I guess the total gross was about $28,000 for last month, but we bought all the machines and put up the building, and then we're continuing to outfit all the rest of the stuff. So out of that, we should be about the same after we're up and running again with 500 terahash.
Remember, I can still add, I've got to put the plug, but I can add 12 more machines in the basement.
Well, I want to wait until until mine's hooked up, and then also we want to make sure that we're more into winter time because we don't want to overload anything at the moment.
And by the way, don't use Bitcoin for lunch at Applebee's. That doesn't make sense.
It's just every now and then type of thing. They're out and that type of stuff. So.
Yeah, $50 for lunch at Applebee's. That's pretty crazy, I think.
Yes, it's a rare occasion thing.
Okay.
So
As long as it's rare occasion.
The only thing we do currently is buy the machines, buy all the equipment, buy the stuff, like the building materials and whatnot, and then pay Jacob.
Okay, we got to pay the light bill.
Yeah, and pay the light bills and whatnot. We pay all of our expenses. It's I'd say out of the food stuff, it's probably been maybe $100 in the past year. That's a pretty low.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, I mean, we get to write off food and entertainment, but so no, there's not a lot of that.
Actually, you don't get to write off food and entertainment unless you're
We're talking about
a customer.
customers. Caroline's.
Not really, not really.
I told Caroline to talk to the waitress about Bitcoin.
The IRS could be watching this, so.
No, I told Caroline to talk to the waitress about Bitcoin.
Okay.
See, when you're doing something like that, then it's fun. So,
Well, have you done anything more, what do you have to do to get crowdfunding? We do-
yeah, that's what we were gonna mainly
Not
talk
do
about.
any more than 10%.
Yeah, alright, so if you are, agreeing to it, then, which, it will speed us up by about 6 months. If we do allow 10% to be sold. And if we can raise $1 million,
200 machines, we could go to 1,000 machines.
well, we could actually, with $1 million, we could have, the data center that we want over there off of, at the lot that we've got,
At the commercial lot.
at the commercial, or the industrial lot.
Industrial, we could have a data center, have our
Yes.
own generator,
Yes.
and make our own electricity for 3.5 cents a kilowatt.
No, well, it depends, that's if we go with the gas turbine. If we go with the fuel cell, it'd be about, I talked to a guy the other day, and he was saying it's gonna be about 1.8.
But I don't know if fuel cells perfected enough.
It's perfected enough, they've already got it in hundreds and hundreds of locations.
So it uses natural gas and water?
It uses natural gas, and it splits it up into its major components. And so you're getting more bang for the buck. If you just simply use the methane, natural gas, as the main fuel, well, you're wasting a lot of the fuel potential. If you split out the hydrogen out of the natural gas, you still have the fuel from this part.
Do they make,
And
do they make any generators where you can utilize the heat that's wasted in the exhaust?
no, not yet.
They ought to, where we can circulate it through the building, to heat the building in the winter, or.
Oh, well,
machines-
no, yeah, we don't have any
Machines
heat.
that heat the building.
No, yeah, unfortunately, the
Maybe we
stack on one of
You
these
can sell
things.
the heat to the guy next door.
Yeah, no, like in my location, I'm going to be using the hydronic coils to heat my home and whatnot. So I will be using all the excess heat, but unfortunately, the fuel cell technologies, the stacks are, they're going to be probably, I think they said about 200 or 300 degrees. So they're about 98% efficient, but
Oh, Kenny, are there any generators, fuel cell generators on the market that are like 100 kilowatt or higher?
oh, this particular one is 1.2 megawatts.
21 megawatts there.
Yes.
That would be big enough.
Yes, that one is the one I told you that was about $280,000.
How many amps does that translate to?
Oh, well, you take, that is at 3-phase.
That's pretty big.
So that is actually going to be,
We'll have to do the math.
yeah, you have to do math. So you'd have to do
Sounds like
the
about 300.
480
About
times,
300 amps an hour.
yeah.
No, more than that, it'd be.
It'd be 480 times 1 megawatt, or times the watts. Well, just times watts to give you amps.
Just to say it was single phase, 240.
Yeah, then it would be 240 times the megawatt.
600 amps an hour, I guess.
Yes. Which,
Which, right now, it may have been.
that would be about,
Enough to run a couple hundred machines.
no, that would be enough to run, it's gonna be running about 680 machines.
Yeah.
And then we'll have grid tied, into it as well, but
It'd be nice if we could let the grid be our backup to the.
yes, it will be. It will be backup to the generator. But once we're at, if we stretch out the bandwidth at that particular location, I believe with the maximum of 100 gigs up and down at that location, then I think we're maxed out at probably about 3,000 machines. We will probably be at about, now with the S9s being less,
Less power consumption.
well, let's hear,
Well, they're available, we run by all S9s, but
eventually
we
we'll,
can't get them right
Well, I mean, even if we had all S7s at 1.8 cents a kilowatt, that's highly profitable. You know, so, if we take if we raise $1 million,
What
then.
about those guys in Washington State that have the high power, why aren't they looking at generators and staying in Washington State?
Some of them are going fuel cell tech in order to, but what is happening in Washington is in some of the counties, not all of them, but a lot of the counties, they have raised their what they're doing, what we call tiering. The more electricity you use, the more you pay. They're punishing the people who are actually producing, and that's why many people are leaving the area and coming to North Carolina. Eventually, it'll get to the point where we'll have to generate all of our power, if that were to be the case. And we can.
Yeah, if they come out with tiered rates here, we would have to definitely generate. our
Yes,
own.
or that's why most people are going to Tibet right now, because it's, from what I understand, it's 1 cent per 500 kilowatts,
Wow.
which is incredibly cheap. But
Okay, well, Newfoundland, we looked at Newfoundland, the advantage of Newfoundland is they have spent $30 million for high-speed internet, like comparable to Google.
yes, but we have to
Get
look at
1,000 megs up and down.
the tax rate. We have to
They
compare.
have special tax rates for new business, they're like Australia, they're wanting people.
Yes,
There's
and
less,
well, like I said, Newfoundland would
there's
actually be
less
an
than 1
excellent
million people
location.
in the whole country, so they want people.
My issue is qualified and honest technical people in that area. You know. Now, if we have CCNAs,
And no air conditioning requirement.
Well, of
It's already
course.
cold enough.
yeah, of course. But also we do still have to find out if there's going to be any type of tiering,
Right.
yeah, or if we can negotiate even a lower rate, because we need to eventually get down to 3 cents or less.
Yeah.
Problem with Newfoundland was it's the exact same price that we're getting now,
Mhm.
which is good, but the problem with that is the distance.
So the remoteness, until we get this side maxed out, then we can consider
Yes.
setting up a site up there.
Yes, then at that point I can afford the fuel for planes
And-
again, and I can fly myself up there.
And we can monitor, of course, we can monitor the performance of every machine from this location.
True, but you must have somebody with qualified knowledge up there 24/7. And
Well, that's easy, a 10-year-old kid. That's
no, no, I wish.
perfect.
I don't know, someone probably could, but
Okay.
no, we do have that 24 hours, especially when we get to that many machines. If we're gonna put 3,000 or 4,000 machines at one location, you have to have,
Oh, yeah.
you're gonna have somebody,
Yeah, round the clock.
not only that, but you have to have somebody who's gonna deal with the environmental conditions 24 hours a day. Somebody's gonna take care of the network 24 hours a day. Somebody's gonna take care of the different, all of the machines, basically looking at the software program, it kicks out a machine, someone's gotta run down to the machine, and then, basically do a
Okay,
diagnostic on
go
it.
ahead and pull it out.
Exactly, and then we also have to have somebody who can repair, everything. Now, Michael is learning all that stuff in the Marine Corps right now. We do have the guy here that is able to, and he's able to repair those two power supplies.
Good, yeah.
So he's able to do all
By
that.
the
So
way,
we
this-
kind of have our network
Get
here.
off the subject, but tell him we're gonna pay him separately for that business.
Yes,
Not to deduct it from his rent that he owes me.
Yes,
so
yeah, of
I'll
course.
pay him separately.
yeah, no, we can do that.
I'll have one to call him tomorrow.
Yeah, well, I was gonna tell him when I go pick up
We're
everything.
just paying cash now, whatever,
Yeah.
probably only $100 or something.
I think so far the bill is like $160, and he's repaired quite a few things.
That's
So,
awesome.
yes, it's very awesome.
Mhm.
And by the way, he's got a twin prop airplane he's looking to sell.
Oh, really?
But it's a 1978 Piper 334. It's not the model I want.
But it's twin?
No, it's a twin engine. I have to get about another 40 hours of flight time to get my twin prop certification.
Okay, when you fly out,
Yeah.
I'll
You
take-
bet that's what it's gonna be.
I'll take a couple days and drive out.
Yep, well, I'll be there and back already. You know, that's with that particular
Not that far,
plane.
actually, we can be there in 2 days easy, from here to New Brunswick.
Yeah, but I could be there in a couple hours. I know, it'd be about 4 hours. About
Well, you
4
have to
hours.
fly out over the Atlantic and then swing back in,
Yeah.
then we won't go over New York City.
But Dad can get his pilot license if he wants to.
You got pontoons on it?
No, but,
Got pontoons, well, I can go get my pilot license too, but
Then you wouldn't be so unhappy.
then maybe I wouldn't be so worried about it.
yeah, because you'd be in control.
Mhm.
But more small planes crash than anything else, so.
Well, they have new designs. And so, you know, that's an older Piper. It's a nice one
You
though.
got to upgrade the electronics.
No, it's already been, he's done a lot to it, but,
You
no,
got-
and besides, you don't, like, I've seen these pilots that have nothing but electronics, and I'm like, dude, you know, what if anything fails?
Yeah.
You know, you need to have a few, you need your altimeter needs to be, you know, old school,
Analog,
and,
yeah.
well, it's not analog, it's,
Actual
yeah,
pressure, right?
yeah, you need a few of your gauges to be actual, mechanical gauges.
Yeah.
But anyways, we're getting off subject there. So, we need to look at, alright, so the total cost, we've already expended
Well,
everything.
so, is there a website you can go to set up a crowdfunding
Yes.
thing? And
Yes.
we have to have some description of what we're going to do, what we're going to
Yes.
get money with.
Yes, and links to like the website or to the, YouTube.
Give them a opinion on their contribution, a percentage of the
Yeah.
10%.
Now, I mean, we've already had, one investor who wanted just too much of a percentage, but, I'm fairly sure we can find somebody, if one person wants to come in with that.
Yeah.
But, if not, we can certainly fund it. There are a few,
In about 3 months, it'll be probably enough we can start growing on our own.
well, at that point, yes, it will be,
Because the building is only gonna be $50,000, lots already paid for, so we can have a building, so for, like saying with 500,000 even, we could put a couple, 200 or 300 machines in
you know,
there.
for everything that we wanna do, we need to raise about $1 million.
So maybe would be
Oh.
better,
That way we get the generator, we can
Oh, yeah.
have the building, we can have all our network set up, all the machines, all of the machines everywhere, S9s until, then we could start looking at other
yeah.
locations.
How important do you think, if we have an experience, how important is the internet speed to the
The
performance?
bandwidth is not as important as the latency, but, you do need, I mean, once with the fiber optic that's there at the
At the new location?
at the industrial lot, that's gonna be plenty. So I'm not terribly worried about that. It's more about, having the, managed switches that are, you know, gonna have multiple pathways. So that way, if you have, let's say we have a 50, we have a 50,
Gigabyte?
well, we have a 50 machines on each switch.
Okay.
Then, you know, if and when everything's coming in, S9s, I haven't measured the exact bandwidth that they use, but let's say with that many machines, you know, we're gonna have to have at least, from what I understand, what I've talked to a couple other people, we have to have at least 50 gigs for that many, for 3,000.
Well, let's see, at that side, from Time Warner, we can, and AT&T, we can get 300 up and 100 down.
No, that's,
I mean, no, the other way around, huh?
no,
300
we're
down.
talking gigs, not megs.
Not bad, go gig.
That's where the fiber optic, that's, and we already know we can get that with the fiber
Well,
optic.
1,000 megs is what?
That's 1 gig.
That's only 1 gig?
Yes, that's 1 gig.
But then we got long way to go to get
Right.
50 gigs.
Yeah, well, no, the fiber optic network, you can go up to 100 gigs up and down.
100 gigs.
Yes, that's the one, at that point, you know, that's the one where they said it was like
That was-
$1,600 a month for that service.
Yeah, 1,600 a month.
But that was, that's not gonna be a big deal.
It'll be only for us, it'll come,
That's-
a wire pulled just for our building,
Yes.
nobody else shares it.
That's right, it's a dedicated,
Dedicated, internet.
yeah, so dedicated line, yes.
Fiber
So-
optic line.
But well, that's future stuff. So what we need to talk about now is, all right. So we this month so far we've spent about 24,000. We've had the capital investment. The total it was we have the last I calculated for September was 28,600, I believe. Total gross income coming in, but we spent 24 or something, and we're still spending it from last month. So we need to talk about what we need to spend on next is finishing out,
Finish out your garage
yeah, the building.
and get, with your building, get
Yeah.
300 amp service in there. And then that
Well, I'm
will
gonna
give you, that's enough
350
for,
amps in
how
there.
many machines you think you put in there?
100 and
100?
I believe we're gonna.
They can't do 100.
Yeah, I can do 100 S9s.
You think?
Yeah.
Oh, it's not.
That's
Maybe.
nice.
Yeah, because your house doesn't pull that much. I mean, I have 600 amps here.
Yeah.
That's what I say, I could go another 12, 15 machines.
Yeah.
You can go more than that if you
Well,
change it to the other.
Well, if they were all S9s.
I'm at
it'd be-
60, so I can go to 75.
Yeah, I mean, we're overclocked now, and because of that, you know, we're pulling in the 1,300 per machine. But with
You
the
change
S9s,
machines.
if they weren't overclocked,
Mhm.
then, you
Well,
know, we
that's
could
fine.
easily, yeah. Well, they're about 1,000 to 1,200 watts if they're overclocked. So basically, you know, we get about 120 at your
Do you
place.
think overclocking is helping
Well,
them wear out faster or heat up?
only when you shut down fans and you kill our static pressure.
Did you notice our mesh filter out there?
Yes, I did, and we gotta clean that every day.
Yeah. Close
It's,
them out every day.
yes, like I said, along my building, it's gonna be no PS motors whatsoever. It's gonna be all variable speed. Eventually, we gotta change those
We
over
can
to
change
PS.
those exhaust fans to variable speed.
No, we don't want the exhaust. Those can actually be the PS, at the moment, we need the intakes to be variable speed. Because they're the ones that have to overcome the higher static pressure. So that's currently
We'll
what.
have to go to Grandviews and see what they sell for, but yeah, we can put.
Or at least a X13 motor, or, you know, where it'll step up its speeds based on, you know, trying to maintain a certain RPM that we choose. You know, we can buy one of the variable speed programmers. I forgot how much they were, but
Let me see if there's anything on the market already that has that we
There
can
are.
suck in, that's already
Yes.
built, the electronics already built into the fan.
yes, they are. There are.
Other than furnace motors, which are limited in the size, they can.
No, it's not about, it's
Fine.
about RPMs. See, the squirrel cage limits the tonnage
Yeah.
because it can only move so much for the wheel. The fan, the blades are how you calculate it based on RPMs. Or, actually,
Well,
in other countries, they don't call them RPMs, they call them, the something or nothing. So if you're in another country and I'm talking about RPMs or talking about revolutions,
yeah.
that's not what you guys use in other countries, but that's what we say here.
Well, if we had a propeller type blade on a.
On a variable speed, a standard variable speed like we have, our CFM would probably be in the 30,000 range.
We could probably get 20,000.
No, it'd be more like 30,000.
30,000.
First off, that particular blade on the large one, that's 30,000 CFM based on a 0.05 static pressure.
Yeah.
Okay, so,
But right now, it's only 13,000. I looked it up. The big one, the 4-foot one's 13,000 CFM.
I know, but that was
Only on .05.
the combined, yes, on 0.05.
But
static
compared to
pressure.
the other one,
Well, when you add the filter, that's making it like 0.25.
Yeah.
The dirt filter gets dirty, that makes it like 3, you know, and the CFM just drops dramatically. And that's when the problem with the temperature begins. And so that's why we have
And if
to fix
anybody's
it.
watching later, we'll show you our manometer down there where we can keep an eye on it.
We've already seen it.
We've already seen it.
They've,
We're gonna upgrade to digital at some point, electronic.
eventually we'll get to the system where the computer monitors it so that it's more of a constant. There are integrated building systems, but we can't afford that quite this. You know, on the data center, we'll have an integrated building system where it will measure the CFM precisely.
Plus we wanna we wanna monitor the amperage draw or.
Yeah, no, it monitors everything. It monitors every little detail. So let's say if the outside temperature is at 70 degrees, it will know the correct CFM to move through the building at that particular temperature. As the temperature rises, it'll continue to ramp up and whatnot. So same thing with, you know, in the wintertime, we'll obviously save, and in Newfoundland, we'll save just because it won't have to ramp quite as much.
Yeah.
And so,
Highest, you're looking at, along the coast, you're looking at 70, the record high.
but we
would be
cannot
like
be on the coast
75.
too far because of the salt.
Well, you move in and you're at 75 degrees down to 40 below zero.
Yeah, well,
So
40 below zeros, and we have to shut down the building and let the machines heat the building.
that's machine.
Yeah, and even then, they probably.
You can keep some fans going.
No, fans will not be running at 40 below. Those machines are not designed to be running at 40 below.
Well, they'll give off enough heat to keep the building.
They'll keep the building nice and toasty, yeah.
Keep the building warm.
You won't want to go outside,
No.
but anyways, so that's where our next step is to continue to outfit the building, and then we will max out. I'm gonna start with the crowdfunding. I'm also gonna talk to a few of the financiers that some people have suggested doing to see what we can try and do to try and maybe we can just have 1 or 2 investors.
Yeah, the fewer, I would think the fewer people you have to make happy.
But we're still going to have a majority, so
Yeah.
people will become wealthy off of this, but it's not going to.
We don't want them to become wealthier than we are.
Well, no, it's not that. We don't want to have loss of control.
Right, we don't lose control, so 10%. It'll be voting stock, you'll have a vote, but you only get 10% versus 90%. Or you have 45%, I'll have 45%,
Yes,
and they'll have whatever,
yes.
depending on the number of investors, up to 10%.
Yeah, well, up to 500 investors
Yeah.
is the maximum we can have without having to go public.
But it looks like easily at that point, we'll be making what, 20,000 a day probably.
Well,
Taking machines.
if we take our current and we
That's
work together.
only $600 for Bitcoin. If Bitcoin goes to 800 or 1,000, then this is a no-brainer. This is gonna shoot through the roof. You know?
Well, it will show the charts on the perspective, but you know, based on 3,500 machines, we'll be doing approximately $260,000 a day.
260,000 a day.
Yes.
I think we could pay some investors out of that.
Yep. Well, that's based on, you know, with the lower rate.
That's the gross.
Yeah, that's
And we have our expenses.
yeah. So.
You and I can take a little money out. And like I said, if we get our own generator, that's gonna greatly reduce our overhead.
Yeah.
And then maybe we can afford to hire somebody to help us watch the machines.
Yeah, so, you know, that's.
Decide to go out of town for a day. So in case we go to New Brunswick to check out Newfoundland. Actually, I don't know why I call it New Brunswick. It's actually Newfoundland. We're gonna go to Newfoundland
Well, you can go to Newfoundland, I'm gonna go to Tibet.
You
I just
go to
wonder-
Tibet, that's kind of
Tibet's,
a dangerous place.
Tibet's
No, it's
not.
not Tibet.
No.
Yeah, Tibet is, that's where the Chinese are.
Well, that's, alright. Anyways, it's,
Shanghai would be better.
no,
That's-
Tibet is because everybody's going there because of the low labor, highly skilled, people in that area.
Low utility costs.
Very, very low utility costs. That is why,
You don't have to be a native born Tibetan to get it, any business.
that's what
You
I'm,
have to check into
that's
it.
what I'm gonna check into.
You have to become a Tibet citizen.
Right.
No, you have to be Chinese. Tibet is actually, China.
But
So,
then
It is
You'll
China.
have to have Chinese.
Chinese investor, yeah, we could have a Chinese investor who, could
If that's
easily
what
do
it
it.
takes to qualify. That's,
If that's what it takes to qualify.
Check in.
That's something that, I'll have to investigate as well.
but once fuel cell, if we get some fuel cell generators, we make our own at 2 cents, including
Yeah.
maintenance and fuel costs and even depreciation.
Yes. Yeah,
That's plenty cheap enough.
yes.
Yeah.
And the Chinese will always have the upper hand and the advantage of the fact that they're the manufacturers and they have incredibly low labor costs and that they have a very,
Yeah, but who's to say someday we can't start stamping out our own circuit boards?
of course, but that's a long ways off quite yet. So we're not gonna worry about that yet. But no, the next step would be to find a,
Make our own machines. And make our own
no, the
buses.
next step would be to find a dam that has like a 10 megawatt generator that's been just sitting idle due to the fact of low usage. And basically be able to negotiate a very long-term contract on that generator.
I know of an industrial site in Atlanta, Georgia that had the whole industrial site has its own separate power generation
Well, that's
facility.
exactly what we're gonna be doing.
And it uses the grid as a backup, and everybody in that industrial park has their own power source and pays a very low rate.
Mhm.
It's like a self-contained,
Yes,
I'm not sure what they're using, hydropower or
because
what.
Georgia has very high power. Their utility costs are pretty high, so. A lot of times what manufacturers will be giving deals, hey, if you come here,
Mhm.
we'll give you the generator, we'll build the generator, blah, 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 because if that's what you're, our next step after this would be to look at negotiating, significant power rates. If Newfoundland has a hydro dam that, we could go and say, hey, look, you got this multi-megawatt, generator just sitting idle because of the lack of use. We want to negotiate a 20-year deal or something, or whatever the case may be. And negotiate a deal so that they can bring it online and we just simply do it.